Hello, everyone. And again, good day to all of you, those who are watching from different parts of the world. Good day, good evening, wherever you are. Again, this is Armando Bartolome of GMB.ph. And this is an exciting episode, mind you, because we are all entrepreneurs, and being an entrepreneur, we all need to know and to investigate, because if you don't investigate, a lot of things may happen, a lot of consequences, no. And today we have a guest who will no other than specialize on real estate. Real estate is a good business. It is a booming business. Just like my late grandfather would always tell me, Butch, you should never invest on other things except land and land, because the land does not uh, get spoiled. The land does not is not something that will perish. It will be there. And so today, without further ado, I'd like to call in this, how would I say, iron lady who will specialize on and give tips on our real estate. So let's call in Sha Sulweta Lupena. How are you, Sha?
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone seeing all over the world. Hi, Sir Boots.
Hey, how are you
I'm great.
today?
I'm
And
great.
yeah, so
How are
Sha,
you?
tell us, what is your background, your area of expertise, as they call it.
Okay. So, I was a former litigator and specializes in family law, business, corporate, and real estate law. Recently, I quit as a real estate as a litigator to focus more on helping families and business owners to protect their assets. So this is very important for families because we don't want all the hard families and business owners as well. We don't want our assets like money and real estate to lose if we don't protect our uh, our assets. So
Okay.
thank you
And
for inviting me to talk about this timely
yes,
topic
yes,
because it's
that's
all
it's an
over.
it's really an honor for us to get to know what are the things that a lot of people would simply remember, as you call it, simple tips in buying land. So tell us, Shah, what is really the things that are going on before and during the pandemic, and now that we are almost getting over? How is the real estate business?
Right now, everyone is slowly going back um, to its former fast pace of buying and selling of property. Before, we all know that, as you can observe, there are a lot of condominiums, uh, construction, and subdivision and townhouses all over Metro Manila and outside of Metro Manila. When the pandemic hit, it all stopped. But real estate is still moving because a lot of people needs to liquidate their assets to have um, income. It's either for emergency or uh, while we are still when everything is closed, no business. So there's still while the pandemic hit, there's still movement with, even though everything stopped from the selling point of view, a lot of People are buying because the prices of the properties are low, because a lot of people are selling their own assets to have income for emergency, for health, or to support, simply to support their day-to-day expenses.
So, in other words, real estate is really a good investment. Would you say that? Would you
Yes, it
agree that
is.
it's an all-time high, come high or high water? Whatever the situation may be, real estate is still the best investment. But unfortunately,
Yes.
there are cases of people. Like, for example, if I own a property and I want to sell, what would be the standard procedure, Shah?
Okay, if you are, for example, you are an owner and you want to sell your property, first you get to, uh, my advice is to get a real estate broker to leverage his expertise and connections and networks to be able to sell your property right away. But if you don't have a um, if you don't want to have a real estate broker and you want to sell your own property, you have to be prepared to talk to different kinds of buyers, and at the same time, if you are open for sales agents that will contact you, so you be ready for the following documents: the tax declaration, certified true copy of your land title, and your valid IDs, because somebody will ask your identity, and as well as tax clearance if all the real property uh, taxes is are updated and paid. So those
Hmm.
are the basic documents that you need uh, to to prepare, to able to show to the agents or the buyers. So you're not going to give it right away, but you need to know, identify first who who is going to be the buyer, or if you have a broker, all the documents that I mentioned will come into handy. So
So
you need
there are
also
there
to,
are there are a lot of there are a lot of steps, no, to really observe. Is it? It's
yeah.
something that, but again, some people would say, I need cash right away. I need to sell it right away, because of unfortunate things, especially during the pandemic. But what is the immediate thing that somebody who owns a property should basically remember as your simple step number one, Sha?
Yes, first is to be ready with all your documents, your documentation, because that's the number one that your buyer will going to check on, because they're going to do their own background investigation or due diligence. Second is to talk to a real estate broker to help you assess your property for the price. It's not only the what is written on the tax declaration, because as you will notice, when you are paying your familiar or real property tax with the assessor's office where your property is located, there's a fair market value indicated there. So the real value will be identified by the real estate broker that you will eventually, or you will need to hire. So to help you determine the price of your particular property. So uh, you cannot just pull the you whatever amount that you think that you are going to sell, because uh, there are market values or sales value within the area that will determine also the marketability of your property. So first, your documentation, be ready. Second, um, advisable is to get a real estate broker to help you assess your property and to help you find a suitable buyer. So
But
those are the
if I'm I'm for the sake of our viewers, what's really the difference between an agent and a broker?
okay. So a real estate broker, though they are those who are practitioners of real estate licensed by the Professional Regulatory Commission. So uh, before when there was no RESA, or when the RESA, there are units, certain units that you need to study and review, and then you take the board exam and then pass. Right now, because of the RESA law, there's a you need to have a 4-year real estate management degree and then take a review and pass. So they are the board passers. The sales agents are they are accredited um, sales sales agents with the PRC, but they cannot sell by their own. They need a broker to support their application with the PRC. So the the sales agents are the agents of a real estate broker, and they must be also accredited with the PRC. So they have identification cards to that they need to show, and in the identification card you will also see who sponsored their accreditation with PRC. So a lot of agents are, when there's a property on sale, you will see a lot of agents. You don't know who are credited. So you need to
Uh-huh.
ask for identification so that you will see that they are really accredited and who sponsored their accreditation. The one who will
So,
sponsor them is the
yeah.
broker.
So the question now here is, if I have a property and really some people would approach, the Filipino way, it's a neighbor would say, hey Mare, I know somebody. Let me be the one to help you sell and dispose your lot. And it's a referral. But again, what should be the precautionary measure? That if I am, because they will usually say, may I see the title? Would you give the title immediately to somebody like your neighbor would help you?
Mm-mm. Uh, no, no, because you might be surprised that you might be surprised that there will be a deed of absolute sale. You don't know. So, in that case, if that kumare or friend is not a licensed broker, and we have a RESA law, Real Estate Surveys Act. So this kind of situation, if that person is not a relative, it's not allowed to sell a real estate property. So even if and in the olden times before the RESA law, there are a lot of special power of attorney.
Oh, the
They
SPA,
they
as you
just
call it,
arm
right?
themselves. Yes, they arm themselves with the SPA. Right now, because of the Real Estate Service Act, it's not allowed to have a SPA if you're going to sell a property of a neighbor or a friend. You need to hire a real estate broker. So it's not allowed anymore. You can refer. If that kumare has a buyer, he can refer, but you cannot give the kumare a land title because you're not sure if that your sensitive data will be kept in confidential. If, for example, she has a buyer, she can refer, but she cannot ask for a commission. for
Oh,
because of that sale, because it's not allowed. It's not allowed. It's illegal practice to become an agent if you are not a licensed broker or an accredited sales agent who has a sponsoring real estate broker. So she can refer, but she cannot ask for a commission for that. If,
okay.
for example, um, that Kumari as a real estate broker, she need to ask for, they need the ba- the seller, the owner of the property, and the Kumari who is a, for example, she's a licensed broker, they need to execute an authority to sell so that
Okay.
she will be allowed to sell the property to prospective buyers. And
What
as a
happens now,
broker,
Sha? Yeah, yeah.
yes,
What happens now, Sha? Okay, the family, usually the siblings would say, like, the siblings would have a property that is inherited from their parents.
okay,
And how will that be settled? For example, out of four siblings, one of the siblings would want to sell, and they have a broker, I should say, but the other three refuse to sell. I mean, these are common cases, right?
yeah.
Wherein there'll be people saying, yeah, my brother, I have to settle this. How do you settle that?
Okay, if one um, heir or sibling in that a particular question wants to sell his share, he can sell it to another heir, his co-heir, his share. It's allowed that he can sell it to his co-heir. So he or she can waive his or her rights over that particular property or inheritance, and then that waiver is with coupled with sale. So this is not a full renunciation, but it is sold. He or her share will be sold to another heir. So what if it will be sold to another person? It can be sold to another person, but it is with a caution because it's still the property is still in the name of the the parent of that particular sibling. So they need to still uh, to to file their estate tax, and
Hmm.
so that they can be able to uh, to subdivide their properties, and then that particular sibling who wants to sell his share to another person, not to his co-heir, he can uh, validly sell his share to another person.
All right. Okay. So, if, for example, we have known of cases wherein they would, the parents forgot to transfer to the siblings. Unfortunately, the parents died, and the name of the title is still in their parents' name. What would happen to the property? Is there any remedy for the children to really be able to get hold of the property?
They need to either, if the parent doesn't have any last will, so
Yeah.
they don't need to go to the probate court. So they can first they can talk to each other how what are the sharing of the siblings would be. If it's just only one property, are they going to share it among themselves, or they're going to assign it to or give it to his co-heir. So it depends upon the agreement of the heirs. If, for example,
Hmm.
they already decided to uh, to give it to one of the siblings or co-heirs, then they will need to execute an extrajudicial settlement with waiver. or if they're going um, to share it among themselves, and then they can prepare an extrajudicial settlement and share it
Oh,
among themselves in either equally, or it depends upon the agreement of the heirs, how they're going uh if they're not going to follow the succession law. If by agreement they want to share it this way, they can do so by executing the extrajudicial settlement. If they don't agree, then they can go to the court, which is
wow. So
most
this is now
expensive.
where, yeah, this is now where Attorney Shah comes in and wears the hat. Okay. But one of the cases, one of the things that people ask me now here is in our chat, and really, please do send questions. Um, we notice that there are people, foreigners, who are married to Filipinas.
Okay.
Now they purchased land. Now, under whose name will this be? If a foreigner marries a Filipina and purchase land, under whose name should it be?
If they are validly married, so their marriage is valid, then the property will be named with the Filipino spouse and the foreign spouse. This is an instance that the foreign spouse can own a property by virtue of a marriage. So
Also, so in other words, a foreigner can put it under his name without being married or putting the name of the spouse. Is that it, or is it? Are they allowed to own property?
uh because of the marriage, it will be written that uh the name of the Filipino spouse married to.
Ah,
If there's no agreement as
okay.
to mm-mm. So that
Anyway, I just want
he
to
will be the
say, yeah, we just want to say good afternoon to AJ Silweta, who's also watching. Good
that's my
afternoon, AJ.
sister.
Okay. Good afternoon. And also, there's somebody named Deo sending a greeting. So anyway,
Yes, it's a sibling.
tell me what you posted in LinkedIn, and really thank you LinkedIn Live for hosting this. Wonderful LinkedIn, by the way, LinkedIn Live. You should try. And what you posted recently about your sister who almost got scammed. Tell us
Ah,
more about this, Sha.
okay. She's my relative, a cousin. So, I shared in the community how my relative, my cousin, almost got scammed. Because she's an OFW. She was an OFW, and she they want her spouse when they wanted to have a property in the province, so that they can stay whenever they have a vacation time. So when they're looking, because she remembered the a lawyer's advice to only buy a house and lot from a reputable a developer. So she and her husband looked to different kinds of different developers. So when they already like a particular property near the beach. So they really wanted this property because they are both spouses love going to the beach. So when they about to purchase this particular property, my relative requested me to review the contract before they pay. So I reviewed the contract to sell, and then I noticed in the contract of, to sell, that the property is in fronting the bay, or the just few steps to the uh, to the sea.
Sure.
So
Yeah, yeah. To the shore.
yes, to
Yeah.
the shore. So it's not allowed. So I told my, so this is a number one red flag. It's not allowed to own a property to the shoreline. And then second, no, I noticed when I'm reviewing the while I was reviewing the contract, is the name of the CEO or the president of the particular developer, because it so happens that one of my previous client already filed a case with the president. So I checked with the SEC the name of the real estate developer, and I when I double check the SEC documentation, the particular developer is a subsidiary of the main corporation that we filed a a case with the HLURB. So I told my cousin that not to pursue this particular transaction because number one, the property is on the shoreline. So those properties cannot be alienated, meaning you cannot own, nobody can own the property near the shoreline because it is owned by the state of the Philippines. Second, the real estate company is not a reputable company because they're selling properties because of new uh, an encounter with a previous client that they're engaged in double selling. So I told my cousin not to pursue this particular property and look for another property. They eventually look for a reputable one. I told them to it's yeah, although it's a higher price mark, but you will your money will be
Yeah.
in the safe hands because you can, it's a reputable, you have projects, they have projects already in Bohol.
So it's really,
So
yeah, it's really important, Sha, to really investigate. No, as I always say, investigate first before investing. IFBI. Oh, there's a question from Deo. Deo would like to say, what's a specific document Pag-ibig will consider when filing a house construction loan if the property is still under the name of the parents?
okay, so you need to uh si Pag-ibig, in the one of the requirements of the Pag-ibig is they if it's still in the name of the parents, if the parents is still alive, you can secure or ask your parents to execute a special power of attorney authorizing you to use that particular property to loan it as a collateral for construction of a house. But if the particular parent has already passed away, it shouldn't be um, named or settled first the real estate or the estate tax, and then either to assign the property if to the one that will apply for a construction loan, or to uh, to the spouse who is still alive, and then
Mhm.
ask for authority letter of authority to use it as a collateral for a loan, construction loan.
Good, good.
So
So this is really, it's really nice that we are getting this kind of questions. Thank you, Deo, for shooting us that question. You also have a post which I was really, my eyebrow raised and said, sangla tira. What is that? What do you mean by that?
okay, Sanct Latera is an arrangement where the owner of the property intends to who needs a money, an arrangement whereby the owner of the property uh, mortgage his particular property to another person called the mortgagee. So he allows the mortgagee to use the property while he's paying for the amortizations. So this is another the sanglatira is a uh, common scam right now. Actually, even before that, um, the one that mortgages the property is not the real owner of the property. So they cannot the mortgagee cannot enter the house because somebody's still living in that house because the one that they have contact with is not the real owner, or even if it's the real owner, he or she already mortgaged that particular property to several other people. So how can you use, because the difference between Sanglatera and the normal mortgage agreement is that you're allowed to use the mortgage is allowed to use the property while uh, while the contract is existing. And if the mortgagor or blagger or the real property owner fails to pay the his loan, then the mortgagee is allowed to foreclose that property. So this is the common scam right now.
Oh, a lot of it's really an exciting life, right? I mean, you have to be like, a lot of people would dream having a property. Okay, it's no question about it, but to be careful before giving or signing any contract, right? Like for example, in one case that I know, since I'm into franchise development of businesses, there was this case wherein the franchisee was kicked out of the place. And I asked the franchisor what happened there. Apparently, the lessor who the franchisee was talking is actually a sublessee. And when the real lessor came and arrived from overseas, apparently, the lessor found out that there are several tenants. And so what happened there, the franchisee and the other tenants were kicked out. So how any remedy about this? I mean, in other words, there was a good faith because the what the this lessor was telling the franchisee was saying, "Oh, I have an arrangement with the owner," but he was not able to show something. Everything was in verbal. So, is there any remedy for that, or it's really you really lost?
Oh, in that case, they can go to the court for to to honor who are they going to pay for the rentals. If it is for rentals, and then sue the lessor, sue the one that sublease the property, and the court will have the final say was the right to get the lease. It's very actually, Sir Boots, it's a very common situation where The contract is specifically says there's no right to sublease the property, and yet they sub the original one will the original lessee will sublease the property. So it is usual that they go to court and honor the one who the second the sublet the one that will file is the for your example Sir Boots is the franchisee to file in court if she or he or she is interested because of the location, because it's very important for the location that location is to file with the court to honor his or her right, who is his right to rent, and then who is who is the franchisee will going to pay now, because there
Correct.
it appears that uh the the one that he contracted with is only a lessee. It's also a lessee also. So he needs
Yes.
to ask for a favorable decision in order for that franchisee will get to have his or her right to use the property.
Hmm. Anyway, AJ Solueta said, yes, this live stream is very informative and relevant. Wow. So you really owe AJ Solueta a treat. Okay. And also, Deo is also making a follow up. It looks like in relation to my question earlier, he said, is it possible for the spouse of the son of the property owner to apply for the construction loan under her name?
Yes, the son can apply for a loan as long as he is authorized by the spouse, the surviving spouse, to use the property for construction purposes. So their documentation that the pag-ibig will ask from you, Deo, that you need to comply. And then the pag-ibig will assess and will make a investigation of their own before they approve your application. So what they need is
Hmm.
uh, the property should be named to the surviving spouse, and then they will require uh, an authority allowing the son to use it as a collateral for construction of that same house, not the other house, not any other house, but that uh, subject house that you're going to use as a collateral. So not the other
Okay.
house, but that particular house
Yeah.
or property.
The other thing that I notice is there are, especially our overseas Filipinos. I remember there were a lot of people asking me who bought. There are a lot of people who sell condominiums to OFWs abroad, and since the OFWs would always want to invest, they would always sign up. But apparently, there was somebody who made the visit in a condominium, and when she saw the condominium, it was a different condominium. In other words, it's not the floor that she signed for. How do you protect now? I mean, this is one common thing among OFWs. They love to buy properties while abroad, which is really true because that's their dream to own a property. But again, the sort of the transparency for among condominium sellers. How do you protect yourself?
Okay. Oh, this Sir Woods, thank you for that question. This is very common. I already handled before that that kind of situation. In order for you to protect your money not to buy this kind of there's no proper disclosure if if it's not the reputable developer or is still an emerging developer. You need to ask for a you ask the agent if this is already the plan that they are going that they're selling is already approved by the HLURB. If they say that it is already approved, you ask for the master plan. You ask for the master plan because in the master plan you will see that those who are already sold and the exact uh, the exact plan of the whole structure because a lot of you are right here, sir. A lot will be shocked that the condominium that they bought is not the same that they are being sold to. For example, they don't like to ride a elevator. They wanted only a second floor unit, and then they were shocked that they're already in the 12th floor because there's no approved plan yet. This is the particular issues with the developers. Not all, but particular developers. They are already selling units, and they will say that this is the already the plan, but the truth is, there's no approved plan yet. They're just selling it in order for them to get funding with the bank. Because in condominiums, they sell it by percentage, and then they will get approval. And then once they get approval with the HLURB of their plan, they also get funding from the loans, from the banking their bank loans. So there are scrupulous developers that they will say that this is the plan. So in order for you to prevent this from happening, you ask for the master plan. You ask the agent if this is the real unit, if this is already approved by the HLORB. If they are not, they cannot answer you right away, you can ask with the HLORB. Their books are all open. They are open for inquiries, verification if they're already approved plans with the particular developer. That's the beauty of HLORB. Their
Okay.
books are
So,
open. You can verify um, information about the particular developer, their approved plans already, or if that particular developer has several complaints, you can also ask with the HLURB and the Human Settlements Adjudication Office. They're the ones who are now handling all cases between the buyer and the developer.
yeah,
Mm.
I guess the most technique there is, almost no down payment, and you can transfer and you can start living. And they also, because I attended some presentations, and they show beautiful ABBs, audiovisual, and some are even getting celebrities. But I think that the proof of the pudding there is what you said: get the master plan. But what kind of master plan should you be seeking from the agent, the one representing that company?
They always, they have the master plan of the structural plans of the approved plans of the uh, from coming from the HLURV. They are required to give it to prospective buyers. Actually, they need to give it to to the prospective buyers to if they're going to before buying. This is not common knowledge to everyone that you can ask for the master plan for the approved plan of the condominium. So not everyone knows that they can ask. They can ask this document from the developer or the broker or the agent.
Mhm. Okay. Wow, wow,
It should be readily
that's a
available.
Yeah, that's a heavy, heavy tip there for the OFWs. And you should remember that. You should really remember this because this is very, very important. So, what other cases can you say that will be very, very common that our viewers should be careful?
First, they need to not only identify who are they talking to. If this is I already mentioned, uh, identify the owner, real owner, and the broker and the sales agent. You also need to go to the property itself. You need to check if the property is the particular property you're going to buy. You need to do a site viewing and then check all the documents with the the land title. You can check it with the particular register of deeds. The tax declaration, you can go to the city hall or the municipal hall if it is in the province to double check all those documents. And then again, you will verify the property. You actually go site viewing. And then you check, uh, I'm going back to the land title. You also check if there are encumbrances, if there are loans, if there are other person who are seeking or who are seeking another right with that particular property. Please don't buy it because it will take time. Then it will become a heavy pain and heartache, headache if you will buy something that has encumbrances or the ones that written in the land title, if that there are claiming something against the particular owner or the registered owner.
Is this true for for couples? Let's face it, couples who separate ways, um, and either party wants to sell off the property, and yet since it's conjugal, how will this be now? How do you treat it?
Okay, if they are not yet, they don't have any kids, they can sell it. If they're not, they can sell it. They can sell it, boats actually. If they already have kids and they intend to file a declaration of nullity of their marriage and or annulment, they need to uh, they cannot just sell right away their property because they have heirs if they have already children. They need if they're going to file an annulment case to nullify their marriage, they need to ask the court if they don't have any uh, if this is a conjugal property, there's no meaning to say they don't have any prenuptial agreement. They need to request the court to ask the court if they can sell the property. If, for example, the other spouse doesn't want to sell the property, they can ask the court if uh, to uh, to separate their shares, their particular shares in that property, but they need to uh, they need to protect the shares of their kids. So this is the beauty of the family code. If the parents are the former spouses wants to have an annulment before they get married before they get married to another person, they need to secure the property and to secure if they are already they have children, they need to secure there's the shares of their children in that particular annulment case. So they
But
cannot
will this uh,
get
yeah, will
married
this be true if there is
100%.
a prenuptial?
If there's a prenuptial agreement and there's an agreement there that they can sell their, if this is a separate property, then they can uh, they can sell, they can sell po. And there's a,
Ah,
if it's written in their prenuptial agreement that they're going to have a complete separation of property, then they can do so. They can sell it without the consent of the other spouse, because usually in prenuptial agreement there's a complete separation of property. There's
so in other words, what I own before marriage is something that I own myself. But
yeah,
anything that is during the marriage that I buy becomes conjugal, correct?
yeah.
So
If
that
it's included, if it's included in the prenuptial agreement, but usually if there's a prenuptial agreement, what is agreed upon is complete separation of property, including the property that they will own during the marriage, and they will just identify which are properties that they will that they will the couple will own as a married couple.
okay. Now, Sha, I want, well, we are nearing our time. Imagine that. We have been discussing a lot of things, and I'm sure our viewers and those who will watch it later on will really find this very, very informative. And it looks like you have a regular, you have an avid fan, Deo. Deo. Deo is asking, Attorney Shah, what are the things to consider when you are hiring a contractor for your property renovation? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, first, if you're going to hire a contractor, we have a Contractor Association of the Philippines. You first go to their website, and then check the listing of all the valid contractors. Don't go to whatever contractor that will propose to you with the lesser amount, because usually if this is a lesser amount, it means they're going to compromise that lesser value to the quality, usually to the quality of the house or the building that you're going to put up. And then next is the credibility of that contractor. Are they being, they, even if they are written or they in the list of verified contractors in the Philippines, if they do not deliver the projects on time, or they don't have any other projects to back up their claim, then why would you hire someone that who has no reputation yet? And then third is to check the before you agree on something, you check the contracts that you're going to have with the contractor. And you ask questions. If you be honest that if you don't understand those contracts, you ask the contractor, because usually if it's a a pag-ibig loan, the pag-ibig needs to have a report coming from the contractor that this is the first stage, what kind of stage is this finish. If this is already finished, then they're going to, the pag-ibig will going to reissue another check for after finishing the first phase. And then if the contractor, this is if this is a reputable contractor, and then they were going to submit again documentation that they're already done with that second phase. So if this is a loan with the pag-ibig, it should be the contractor must be able to comply with those phases and timeline in order for the pag-ibig will release the next funds. Okay. And that's it. And ayun, sir. Okay. I can't hear. Sir, I can't hear.
All right, here now. All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
I
can
can
you
hear
hear me
you,
now?
sir. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. That's how technology is. Expect the unexpected. Okay, no audio. Thank you, Deo. Thank you, Deo. Deo. But anyway, what are your golden tips? So many wanted to ask questions. But first, Attorney Shah, what are really your focus of expertise? In other words, where can Attorney Shah be of help?
Okay. So I I'm already a former litigator. I no longer handle litigation cases. So my focus now is asset protection and contracts. So what I do now is to protect families and business owners of their assets. So what are those assets that I'm I'm going to I be able to help with the properties, real properties, um, manpower, which is labor, and then uh, money. So those are the three aspects that I can be able to help families and business owners. So, sir, I consider labor as an asset because we don't have any employees. How can we be able to serve our clients or customers? So this is
Exactly, exactly.
mhm.
Yeah. So, like for example, okay, we got just a few minutes. Can you give us the golden tips now, or the golden tips according to Attorney Shah? So the simple tips that a lot of people watching now will remember and never make a mistake. Hopefully, hopefully. So what are those, Shah?
Okay, first for real estate investors, if you're going to buy a property, first you don't be shy to ask questions. Identify first who are you going to talk to. If you're going to talk to a real estate broker, ask for their name. If you're going to talk to the sales agent, you also ask for their name and their valid identification. They're required to produce their valid identification card so that you can verify. You need to identify who are you talking to, verify all documents that you will receive and identification that you will receive, and double check the contracts. If you don't understand the contract, you ask the other party. If not, do yourself a favor, get a lawyer. It is an investment. Remember, this is an investment, a big investment. So hiring a lawyer will be helpful for you to avoid being in a bad situation. Like I always say, it will become a heartache and a headache if you don't ask questions, identify all who are you talking to. Or again, I will repeat, sir. Ask questions, identify who are you talking to, identify the property that you're going to buy, verify all the documents that you're going to have in your possession when you are going to buy. And also, sir, I forgot to mention, aside from authority to sell, if you're a buyer, so that you can request for documentations there, so that you can do your due diligence or background investigation, you need to write to the owner your intent, your intention to buy that particular property. And in that letter, you can request for uh, documentation that you need to do your own background investigation and your proposed plan of how you're going to pay for that particular property. It's not a contract yet, but it's only a proposal that you are intending to buy and what you are going to propose if you're going to pursue this property after you done your due diligence. So
But
I hope you
yeah, you mentioned about due diligence. Some people are saying, "What is due diligence? What's the meaning of that?" I know of somebody who said, some people will not buy from our property anymore because they're asking for due diligence. What is really due diligence in your term?
okay, it's doing a background investigation or background check, verification of all the documents. That if it is a reputable developer, they are very open. They will not their books are open. They're open if you need the documentation. They will provide. If they cannot provide, uh, that's the time that you have to look for another property. If they cannot provide it, don't pursue it because
Hmm.
all the
There,
developers they are required to produce all the documents that you need.
What about properties of ancestral land? I got somebody who wanted to want who was she wanted to buy a property somewhere in Mindanao, but a friend of mine who's into real estate said, "Oh, that's kind of difficult because that's their ancestral land, and really there are no documents to speak of." What would be the advice? Because there are lands, like for example in Mindanao, where there are ancestral and they want to sell it, but they
Mm-mm,
have no document to speak.
mm-mm. Well, first they need to check if those properties are alienable or can be subject for ownership. If it is not subject for ownership, don't buy it. You're going to waste your energy, your time, your money if you're going to pursue it. If it's untitled land and it's capable of ownership by a person or corporation, then you can file for land titling. If you're serious uh, or if pursuing that particular ancestral land, uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So those are the things that you have to watch for. In other words, don't just buy, investigate, and follow what Attorney Shah mentioned. Don't be afraid to ask, okay? Rather than have a lot of headaches, stress, and sometimes, nowadays there are a lot of people with having mental health disorder,
Mm,
and you don't
yes.
want to add, right? You don't want to add. And I guess one what you said is consult a professional. Most of the time, we have this notion of DIY, do it yourself, or watching a public forum. It may help, but it also may help to consult your particular case. And that's very important. No. So, wow, Attorney Shah, we have so much fun.
Me
But
too.
I'm sure we're looking forward to having you again in the show and to talk
Thank you.
about like trademarks, business setup, and agreements. No, in franchising, I'm very very particular about that. And people who get a franchise, I always say due diligence, investigate, research, read the agreement so much. Don't just assume. And get to know the character of the franchisor, which is in your case almost the same. Get to know the
Yeah.
the the developer, the real estate developer, right? So,
Yeah.
where can they connect with you, Attorney Shah? Aside from LinkedIn, you are in LinkedIn. You are very active in LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
Attorney Shah, I'm always following Attorney Shah, and that's how I met Attorney Shah because I was so intrigued by her post. Okay, so where else are you now full time on your own? Are you really now full time on your own practice?
Yes, I'm already committed to helping people, business owners and families. I'm full time doing asset protection. So you can
That's
check me in LinkedIn, Alicia Grace Zulueta Lupena, and Instagram, Realty Biz, B-I-Z Lawyer, and my email, attorney, atty dot shasha, shasha, at gmail.com. I'm
good.
always, I always reply.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can always attest to that. This lady is regard. Oh well, don't do that. I mean, she needs rest and she needs to be with their daughter and with their loving husband, Upeng. Okay. Don't text message her at 3 in the morning unless it's life and death. Okay. But I'm really happy because you're one of those people who answers email, who replies through messages, and that's one thing, in entrepreneurship. You don't have to take so long to reply, right? It's like a respect for a person who takes the time to contact you, and it will take about a week for you to reply. That's something not reputable with me. Okay. So, Attorney Shah, thank you very much on behalf of this LinkedIn live streaming and also in our different platforms. Again, thank you so much, and I'm sure a lot of people will be watching again. Okay, try to sign up for LinkedIn. Okay, and you'll be able to watch this over and over and over again. And from your beloved fan Deo, more power, Attorney Shah and Sir Armando. Thank you, Deo. Thank you, AJ Solweta, and all the rest who are watching. Okay. Thank you very much,
Thank
Attorney
you. Thank
Shah.
you for having
Thank
me.
you. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Happy weekend to everyone.
Bye.
Bye.